All right, Shalom, Yabashim Shabakathum, Boy Yahweh Shemalathum, Bashim Al Shalom, Priest and Officer Kalah, with the Isupk, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. It's been around since 1969, teaching the so called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians who they are according to the scriptures. All right, we are not affiliated with any other group or organization. All right, pay your tithes, which is also a commandment as well. Today is Monday. We could go into a little bit of history, you know what I'm saying? Because it seems as though we as a people forgot our heritage and our history and whatnot. So it is our job to teach you what you have forgotten. All right? Bear with me just a moment. All right. Yeah, us as people were destroyed, of course. So I'm going to get in the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. All right. Those of you that didn't hear me the first time, I am Priest and Officer Kalal with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Under Commander General Yohana, been around since 1969, teaching the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians who they are according to Scripture. We are not affiliated with any other group or organization. All right. Today is Monday. We're gonna go into a little bit of history on some things that wasn't taught to us because it's our job to teach you the history of who you are as a people and not what your oppressor has taught you all your life. Like the fact that you think that you're a so-called spear chucker, wetback Negro. Those are the names that they've been calling us over the years. You can ask anybody who they are, and they'll give you a brief history of who they are and where they came from. If you ask any kind of so-called black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian, they can only go back to as far as slavery. You know what I'm saying? Some people may go a little bit further, but that's because they heard something and then they went and researched it. But all your life in school, they don't teach you who you really are, or the fact that you are the Most High's chosen people. All right, so we're gonna jump in the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6, where it says, "My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, All right, my people are destroyed for that lack of knowledge, and the lack of knowledge is who you are, your history, your religious beliefs, your culture, everything that was taken from you when you went into slavery. Okay, because thou hast rejected knowledge, because you have rejected the knowledge that's been brought forth, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt preach to me no more, no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. Because we reject the knowledge and forgot about our Most High, the one that we worship. All right, he's gonna forget about us. That's why we still sitting in the punishments and under the oppression that we are in today. Okay, but us as a people should know. Let's see. So I can bear with me for a second. Like he didn't. Okay, so like for example, the law, the law of the Most High that we're supposed to be upholding and following, right? We don't do that. We don't follow the law like we're supposed to. All right. We don't follow the fact that we have to uphold a Sabbath every week. We sit there and go in the ways of our oppressor and start celebrating pagan holidays. We don't even teach our children how to dress properly. All right. Because there is a dress code for how we're supposed to dress. We are supposed to dress with the border of blue and ribbon on the side of our garments, on the outer garments, not like your t-shirts or your gym shorts or your jogging pants and whatnot. You have to wear it on your garments, like your jeans and your jackets. All right. When you uphold a high holy day, you're supposed to be with the brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. So I'm gonna tell you who our enemies are. All right, the Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48 is where we're gonna be going. It says, the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48 says, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. All right, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee." That's what happened to us. We went into slavery because we disobeyed the Most High. All right. So now we're serving our enemies and everything that we want and need and to sustain ourselves in life, such as if you want a roof over your head, you got to go pay for it. You got to go and get a job and then work for them to get the money that you need to sustain that house. If you're going to have a family, you got to go to work all your life to sustain that family, to teach them to grow up the right way they're supposed to. And ain't no telling if they're going to grow up that way that you want them to. All right? It's not. Ain't no telling. And thirst. Like if you sitting there, you want to have your utilities. You got to sit there and pay that. We the only people at we are the only species on the planet that has to pay for living on the planet. All right, we have to pay to have water. We have to pay for electricity. We have to pay for a roof over our head. We have to do all that. Verse 49, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. You know what I'm saying? This is when we went into slavery. All right? They came by ships as fast as the eagle flies. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. We didn't understand their language when they arrived. You can look it up. There's a little bit of history where they say when the pale faced people got off, they were astonished at the smell and the sight of them. They were disgusted by their smell. Okay? My bad. They were disgusted by the smell of them that got off those boats. Because we as a people, we black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians were clean people. All right? We were clean. They got off and believing that the whiter their undergarments, the cleaner they are, the more it's just a disgusting thing, these people. All right? These are your enemies. These are the ones that put you in captivity. A nation of fierce continents. It's like verse 50. A nation of fierce continents, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young. They didn't care whether you were old or young. It was a old grandpa or a new baby. You were still enslaved, sold, and worked to death. All right? You were worked until your fingers would fall off and continue to work even more. The book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 4. It says, and though they go into captivity before their enemies, the only people that went into captivity before their enemies are so called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Okay? It's the 12 tribes. All right? Those so called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Those are the ones that went into captivity in front of their own people. I mean, in their, yeah, before their enemies. Thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them. And I will set mine eyes upon them for evil, and not for good. They set their eyes upon you, not for good, but for evil. They sold you. They slayed you. They essayed you. That's what they did. That's the bondage that you was in, the captivity you was in. All right? We're going to drop that and get Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 7. And those of you that don't think that I'm reading the Bible the right way that we're supposed to, I'm going to tell you, we are reading the Bible as supposed to be. Book of Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 7. It says, I have forsaken mine house. I have left mine heritage. I have given the dearly beloved of my soul into the hand of her enemies. This is the Most High was mad at us, so he put us in slavery. He sent us and put us into the hands of our enemies because of the disobedience and the things that we did to the Most High. If we would have listened and actually followed what he had wanted us to do, like we've been teaching, we wouldn't be in this situation. But it happened, and it happened for a reason. one second. The book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 10. All right. This is how you're supposed to read. You know what I'm saying? Well, we're going to start at verse 9. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 9. It says, "Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast." Verse 10. "For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. Here a little and there a little." That's how you're supposed to read. All right. That's how you're going to learn. These precepts are brought to you through the priest teaching you how and what you should do with your life. All right. Here a little, there a little, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line. You know what I'm saying? Here a little, there a little. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how you follow the Bible. That's why we teach the way we teach. All right. And the only ones that should be learning this is the ones that it's for. You may not understand it because that's not for you to understand. We're not here to teach you. We're here to teach the ones that understand and flock to it. All right. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 6. "My people have been lost sheep." My people, as the so called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. When it says their shepherds have caused them to go astray, that's your religious believer. That's your religious leaders. All right, they have caused you to go astray, to not follow the laws like you're supposed to. We as a people, we have laws that we're supposed to follow. All right, they have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. My people they don't know their history. They don't know who they're supposed to worship. They think that they're supposed to be worshiping a blue-eyed, white-haired devil. I mean, stringy-haired devil. All right, that's who they think they're supposed to be following. When in fact you're not, because in the Bible, Christ and everybody else in this Bible are described as blacks, Hispanics, and natives, dark skinned race. All right? That's the description that they give you throughout the book. Song of Solomon, where he said, "Don't look upon me because I am black." You know what I'm saying? The book of Revelations, the book of Revelation, not at the end, it's Revelation, which means to reveal. It gives you the description of Christ. Instead of mentioning it and bringing it up, go ahead and get it for you. The book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 13. "And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot." So as he was peering through, and he seen a man that had a garment, a war garment, that was all the way down to the boot. All right. And they girt about the paps with a golden girdle. He had an armor belt that goes around the girt, your stomach, your midsection to protect your innards when they go fighting with swords. Verse 14, his head and his hairs were white like wool. Um, right here, the texture is what we're going after. The texture is wool. All right. The color is white. Only people that have white woolly hair are dark skinned or black men, Hispanic, Native American. All right. As white as snow. It's pure white. And his eyes were as a flame of fire. That's because he was a man that drank. And for y'all that don't believe that he drank, he did. Because he's the one who turned water into wine. If you're gonna turn water into wine, do you think he's not gonna partake in that? Shh, he would. Hey, come on now. Verse 15. And his feet like unto fine brass. Brass is a derivative of brown, okay? It's just another form of brown. And it's like fine brass, the shiny brass, you know what I'm saying? As if they burned in a furnace. It was a shiny, dark brown. All right. And his voice as the sound of many waters. His voice was extremely deep. All right. Verse 16. No, 15 is the end of it. That is the description of Christ. All right. He's a black man from the tribe of Judah, to be exact. The people of the Bible are described as black people. Only people that are not black people are our enemies throughout the Bible. And that's what we're talking about today, our enemies. We're going to go into Lamentations chapter 1, verse 5. It says, her adversaries are the chief, her enemies prosper, for the Lord hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. This is talking about the Israelites, all right, going into captivity because of the transgressions that we did against the Most High. Into and the transgression is sin. Okay, transgression is of the law. Transgression of the law is sin, and the sin is the transgression of law. And so her adversaries are the chief. Her enemies prosper. They're prospering right now because of what we did as a people, what we did as a nation. All right. So we were put into captivity. We were given to our enemies. In Ecclesiastes, in the Old Testament, in chapter 12, verse 16. Hold on. Salakia. Ecclesiasticus. I gotta put a US at the end of that, yeah. Ecclesiasticus is in the Apocrypha. Chapter 12, verse 16. But I'm gonna tell you like this. There's a way for us to get out of the situation that we're in. All right, to change our ways. That is to follow the Most High and do His commandments. You know what I'm saying? His commandments are not grievous, but our enemies or they don't want that. So they're going to try everything in their power to get you to fail. They're going to try everything for you not to succeed. All right? They're going to tell you sweet things. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips. So they're going to tell you sweet things, all right? But in his heart, he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit, just because he's telling you these sweet things to make you feel good, make you be a little friendlier, to let your guard down. Just know he's plotting against you. That's what an enemy does. They plot against you. I know y'all hear it in the rap songs all the time. He prayed on my downfall. That's what they're doing. They're praying on your downfall. They want you to fail. They don't want you to succeed. When we go out and teach the people, we're only teaching you so you can wake up and become who you're supposed to be, while your enemies will tell you the other way around. Tell you it's okay for you to go and commit these heinous acts throughout the week and then come in on a Sunday and ask for forgiveness. When that's not how it's supposed to be. You don't go out and sin throughout the week and then come home and then be like, hey, Pops, I know I did this, but can you forgive me this time? There's only so much that can be taken. That's why we are in the situation that we are in now. All right? He will weep with his eyes, and if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Again, he's going to sit there and show you a different side versus the side that he really wants to be. All right? The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17. All right? Christ didn't get rid of the law, okay? For us not to be serving our enemies anymore, we have to go back to following the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. All right? This is your history. This Bible, this King James version of the Bible, the Holy Bible, all right? This book right here is your history book. Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, woman, and child. That's your history book right there. The Apocrypha. All right? These are the books that were taken out of the middle of the Bible between Old Testament and New Testament. This was those books that was in there. All right? That's your history. This is about you. These are about your ancestors. These 14 books came out of your 1611. If you get you a 1611 Old English King James version, those really big Bibles, they have the Apocrypha in there. All right? But you can order this online. It's like 14 bucks, 7 for paperback. But yeah, that's your history book right there. The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17 says, think not that I am come to destroy the law. This is Christ speaking. These letters are read. All right? It said, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. He's not coming to get rid of the law or the prophets, the ones that's teaching the law. All right? I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. He's coming to enforce the law. He's coming to make sure the law comes true. the way it's supposed to be upheld, the way it's supposed to be taught. All right. Verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise, or title, T-I-T-L-E, tittle, shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. These different versions of the Bible that y'all done brought forth that has an interpretation on your own thoughts and own ways are not the laws that are written down. All right. There is nothing that's going to change the law. The law that has been brought forth is going to be the law until it all be fulfilled. Verse 19, whosoever therefore shall break one of the least commandment of these least commandments, is something like not upholding the Sabbath, or cutting your getting a line up on your hairline. You know what I'm saying? Cutting into your beard, not wearing your fringes, not teaching your kids to wear fringes, or you wearing fringes throughout your life. You know what I'm saying? These things. And shall teach men so. And the ones that teaching you that it's okay for you to do that. It's okay for you to forsake the Sabbath and come in on a Sunday and ask for forgiveness for all the sins that you committed throughout the week. Okay? He shall be called the least in the kingdom. It'd be like a janitor in the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the ones that are upholding the law, statutes, and commandments, the ones that are also teaching the law, statutes, and commandments the way that they should be taught. All right. The same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. These are your rulers underneath the king, like under Christ. You know what I'm saying? Those are your rulers, your nobles. You know what I'm saying? The book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 17. Again, this is Christ speaking again. I'm going to go up one, all right? This is a conversation between Christ and an Israelite that came up and asked him a question, all right? Matthew verse 19, verse 16 says, and behold, one came and said unto him, good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? Like, what can I do to gain the kingdom of heaven? All right. And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? Why are you calling me good? Right? There is none good but one. That is the most high power. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. All right? He's not coming to destroy the law. He's coming to fulfill. For you to get the eternal life or the kingdom of heaven, you have to keep those law, statutes, and commandments. That's what you have to do. You have to enter life to keep the commandments. To keep the commandments, you got to enter life. All right. First John chapter 3, verse 4. Okay. The book of First John chapter 3, verse 4 says, whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. To commit a sin is to break the law. To break the law is the sin. The transgression is that breaking. All right, it's a sin. First John chapter 5, verse 3. It says, "For this is the love of the Most High. For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not grievous." All right. If you don't know what grievous means, it just means not tiresome, troublesome, or hard to do. All right. So we know the love of the Most High is keeping the law. Sin of transgression is breaking the law. All right. Romans 6 and 1.